Hey guys, Marmalade here. How's it going? I hope everybody's well. Well, I had put up a note on my community tab on my YouTube channel about asking for some questions for a Q&A, and so I'm calling this little Q&A series. It's going to be a pretty short one, but just post PCT Q&A. This is episode 1, and I'll probably do 2 or 3 or 4. I have enough questions for about 3 right now, but I definitely welcome more questions. And remember, it's specific to the PCT. It can be gear, the mental side of it, the physical, the emotional, that kind of stuff. You know, I talked about in my last video when I finished the trail on the final day about how it's changed me. So I've answered some of those questions, but feel free to answer or ask me some questions if you are interested in something. Maybe you're thinking about doing the trail and you have questions about it. We're going to do 4 questions today, but I'm going to push harder now. I have plans that I'm not going to share with you yet because I've been asked a bunch about what my next plans are. Is it a trail? Is it, going on the road? Is it doing this, doing that? So I will eventually, when I haven't really decided 100% yet. It is right now, what is it, October 7th. So if I do something, whether it's a hike, it's going to be next year, next spring to summer, or if I go on the road, it's still next year. So that's definitely a plan, but until I decide, I'm not going to really disclose that because I really don't know yet. But what I was getting at is that I'm going to push a little harder now that I'm done with my PCT hiking videos, to ask for you to help me out with growing my channel. If I do go, whether it's going on another thru hike or if I go on the road and practice SUV life, which is what I really want to do, and travel the United States next year, I really need to, my channel is starting to grow pretty fast now and I'm starting to get a little revenue, but a big part of my income will be from the YouTube channel, and I want to start now. So when I look at the algorithms and I also look at all the numbers, it shows me a lot of things like what is the age range of people that watch me. Did you know that it used to be 90 and we were catching up on it? It used to be 90% of all the people that watch me were not subscribers, and it's free. But it really helps us, and so what I'm going to ask for you is, it's now down to 75%, so I'm having more subscribers watch me. But why that's a bonus for me is the subscribership, the bigger my channel gets, the more that my videos reach out to people. Also, what really, really, really helps in the algorithms that I've found out from studying YouTube is liking the videos. Once again, it's free. And if you leave a comment, even if you just put a picture, like put a picture, maybe for this video, go on if you're using your phone, you're watching this on your phone, put any tree in the icons. You know how you have smiley faces and trees and animals? Put a tree in there. Even though it's just a tree, it's considered a comment. And when you get a certain amount of comments and likes, it puts it out to millions more people. Then I make more money off of that. So if you can help me out by subscribing, liking the video every time, leaving some kind of comment. I mean, I'd rather hear, instead of a tree, I'd rather hear from you, but some people don't have the time. Also, really, really important, if you're going to subscribe, hit the notification bell in the upper right on my channel, and that way, part of what goes hand in hand with the subscribership is that when I post a video, you'll be notified every time. That helps me with the next video and more views that way. So with that said, we've got that out of the way. If you want to support me and maybe become a patron or do a one-time donation or other things like that, and help me. Every single cent I'm making right now, working my 2 jobs, is going towards my savings for either a hike or getting on the road next summer. So I literally put everything in a separate savings account when you guys donate. There's ways to do it down in the description box to do that. So with that said, let's get on with the questions. I wanted to get that out of the way, and I will mention it from time to time. I haven't done a full court press on that while I was on the PCT because I was too busy hiking, and I didn't want those all that talking I just did to be in those videos. So let's go with the 4 questions. So I will give you credit if you ask me a question. So again, if you haven't asked a question already, sorry, I'm looking right into the sun, and that unfortunately is the best way to film, is having the sun on my face, but it makes it hard to see. So yeah, if you want to leave me a question that has to do with the PCT after the fact or during the PCT, please leave it in the comment section below, and I'll try to get to it. So question number 1 is from the hiking chick. She's been really good about following me. I followed her this year too on her section A hike this year of the PCT. She says, super interested to find out why you decided to stick with the triplex by Z-Packs, my tent that I used, versus the Durston X-Mid Pro 1. I'm seriously looking at that tent. So we're all different, right? And one of the things I've said is I never ever say with like my water filter, or I work at REI, I work in camping, I help fit people for backpacking. I have a preference, I have a belief in certain things that I use, and it's only because I've done years and years of vetting and figuring out what works best for me. But I never go to somebody, or even on this channel will say, you got to get this tent or you got to get this filter because it's the best one. It's the one I enjoy, and I could very well, you've seen me many times, I've used the filter, water filter I've used for many, many years, since 19, and I could switch. There could be something new that comes out, or maybe they improve something that's already out there. So I may switch back to something down the road and when it's better. But for right now, to answer your question, what I was getting at is there's no right or wrong for gear. And so for me, I loved every single component of the Durston tent. Every single thing about it made sense, with the venting, the zippered doors, not having the DCF close to me and having the mesh netting inside. So if your tent gets wet, it's not right on you. And that was the hard thing with some of the smaller DCF tents, was my foot box or my head would touch and I'd get wet. So the ventilation, I like the magnet roll-up doors. I like that it's more storm-proof than some tents, that you can stake it down to the ground. The reason why I didn't go for it was I already have a 3-person tent that's light. It's about 25 point something ounces, my Z-Pack Triplex. And I purposely I wasn't only going to spend the money on a new tent. I didn't need a new tent unless I went smaller and lighter. And the Durston X-Mid Pro was a smaller. It was, instead of 25.8 ounces, something like that, it was 16 ounces, so 1 pound. It's also physically a lot smaller than my triplex, and so I wanted to go by it. All right, so that was interesting. Of all the places that kid could have ridden his bike, he went right next to me. But anyway, so I liked all the components, and it was a step up from my triplex. But when I set it up, I had a hard time, for me personally, I had a very hard time setting the thing up correctly. And then the first time I used it, I got it in high winds, and one side of the tent, on the long side of one side, was blowing in and basically touching me, so it defeated the purpose. And so I used all the tie-outs, but that added weight and more setup time and more stakes, and it just became more of a pain for me. And I watched, they have a video out for their tent that shows how to set it up correctly. I followed the how they do it to a T, and I could never get the tent set up. Now, I guess if I had used it, I think I slept in it 5 or 6 nights, over like 3 different trips before I got on the PCT to try it out. But I got frustrated with it. The other thing why I didn't go with it is I'm a big guy, and when I started the trail this year, I was 265 pounds, and I'm still 6'3". But when you look at the measurement, I physically fit in it, but it was just like using the Altiplex from Z-Packs. When I got in it, I felt very cramped, and there was almost no room to put any of my stuff. Now, what I like is it has all the vestibules on both sides, because it's a 2-door, 1-person tent. But in the end, there was no reason. I could have gone with the bigger Durston, but it would have cost me $700, whatever it is, and I would have had the same size and same weight tent I already have, and I already have it. It's a 3-person tent, but there's no reason to go to the 2-person tent and spend all that money when I already have a tent that works. So I was only going to the Durston tent if it made sense, it worked for me, and it was a much lighter, because I was saving weight and space. And in the end, it didn't work for me, and I had no problem selling it. So that is the reason why I didn't go with it. But there's absolutely nothing wrong with the tent. I just struggled. Also, I'd watched a recent, if you go on Dixie's channel, she finally got to backpack with it and camp in it, and she also struggled setting it up. When you first take out the 4 corners, you make a rectangle, and it has to be perfectly square, or when you put your trekking poles in to raise it up, I always had one side that was saggy or not square, and I would pull that side out, and then it made this other side. So for me, it just was too much work, too difficult. At the end of the day, you're tired and you want to set up. My Z-Packs, maybe it's because I've had it so many nights, but when I set it up, if one corner's out of whack, I just pull that corner tight, and it seems to adjust itself. But the Durston, if one part of it's out, I could never get it to correct. So that was my personal reason why I didn't go with it, but I think you should try it. And you're obviously much shorter or smaller than me, so you should have no problem with it. And maybe go 2-person tent if you want a little more room, but that's the reason why. All right, number 2 is from Ramona Gale 1625. She's been following me since day 1 on the trail. And thank you for the question, Ramona. I'd like to know how you are feeling having transitioned back to a more ordinary life. Also, I'd like to know how much time off after the trail to recover before going back to work you had. So the first one is, this was exceptionally hard for me to transition back, because the other years I got stopped by fires. The previous 3 years I spent 3 weeks, and I did 300 or more miles every year. So it was a lot of hiking, but I was only out there 3 weeks. So even that was a shock to come back. But this was almost 1,000 miles, 2 straight months. It was actually the longest straight stretch for time and miles I've done on finishing the whole PCT. My first year I did 702 miles of the desert, came home, and did another couple, 2 or 3 weeks before I got hurt. So it wasn't even 2 months. So this was the longest stretch. And to answer the question, extremely hard. When you're on trail and you're doing all those miles, you get in this, I lost a lot of weight, and you get lean and you get in this incredible hiking shape, but you also are hurting and sore because of the toll your body's taking. So it's a weird mix of both. If you ever heard the term hiker hobble, but every morning when we get up, we hobble around like we're 80 years old because your body's just like, ugh. And then once you get moving, you loosen up, and then when you hike, you feel good. But by the end of the day, you're hurting again. So it's kind of this weird mix. So when I left the trail and got done, I did that 5-day road trip with Larry. It took me all 5 days just not to be sore, like really, really sore. So it took me about 7-8 days to recover just physically. But it's hard, man. I mean, when you're on trail, it's kind of like you miss some of the niceties in a bed and maybe a cold drink with ice somewhere or decent food. But the benefits so far outweigh what you have in society. And, I come back and it's fast and it's loud, and, there's people that are really impatient. And I told you, it's something I'm working on with me. So now that I'm working on it, I see it more and more. When I was more impatient, I guess I didn't notice it. But yeah, all that stuff really bothers you, and it's a weird feeling. Now I've been back about a little over a month, and you're slowly desensitized back into it. But this year and the culmination of 5 years have really changed me, and my inner self is so much more at peace. And every once in a while somebody gets at me, and then I catch myself. It's something I'm actively working on, like I said in my last video on the trail. But I could just see that even somebody that cuts me off, I honked at somebody today. It was like my second time honking since I've been back. It used to be a bad problem with me, but I honked. But I absolutely wasn't furious at all. I just went beep, but I wasn't internally upset how I would normally get upset. So I've really come a long way, and the trail really helps with that. And the last part of your question was, how much time did I give myself? So I finished right on time, I think a day early. I planned on finishing August 31st, but I finished August 30th. And then we did that 5-day road trip. So I got back on the 4th or 5th of August, and I had leave till August 17th. But what worked out in my favor was my leave was the 17th, and then I was available at work. But it was one of those, I went in right when I got back from the trail, and everybody's freaked out because how much weight I'd lost, and just, that I looked good and stuff. And I let them know I'm back, and they asked me then how much time I had. I said, I think I have like 8 more days of leave, and then I'm back, and I'll be ready to work. They said, okay. Well, the schedule comes out a couple weeks in advance, and they had already made the schedule, and they had forgotten about me because I've been gone for 2.5 months. So at first I was a little offended, and I'm like, no, actually I'm not really mentally or emotionally ready to go back to work and deal with customers, So the very first week after the 17th I was available, I didn't work. And actually I took a shift though. Somebody needed somebody to cover a shift they needed. So I did go to work that day. And then last week they forgot again, but I ended up getting a couple shifts I picked up. So I've worked like 3 days at work so far, and then next week I'm on the schedule like normal. It's not a lot of days right now, it's slow, but it's actually a good way to wean back into it. But I'm in such a good place though, there's, every job, there's good and bad parts about a job. But I'm in such a better place mentally and emotionally that I'm really enjoying going back to work. Okay, these Q&As are meant to be kind of short, but there's something I've been wanting to share with you for a while. It's kind of on a personal nature. It's a health thing. And I just want to let you know what's going on with me health-wise. So I was on trail, and we'll get to the last 2 questions. I was on trail 2 months, as you guys know, July 1st to August 30th. So that's almost 8 weeks. That's including all the zeros and rest days and all that. But with about 3 weeks ago, I didn't tell anybody on trail. I didn't tell you in a video. I didn't show it on the video. I didn't tell my son. I told nobody until I got back. And I've only shared it with a few people. But I started getting extreme swelling and pain in my groin with about 3 weeks ago. Now, I didn't have service. I was out in the middle of nowhere, and I'd get up, and the more I'd hike, the more it'd swell. And it was down in the groin, like you have the V in your groin. It was on the right side for me, looking down. And it was very swollen. It felt like but giant, like a tubular swelling. But it felt like whenever your lymph node, like in your neck, swells up, felt like that, but in a large size in your groin. And the irritation went up. And so the problem was when, as I lost weight, I was cinching down my waist belt more and more, so that, you want 80% of the weight of your pack to be on your hips. So I'd crank that down, and it wasn't pushing right where the pain and the swelling is, but that swelling and that pain went up into my waist area. So when I tightened my waist belt, it was killing there and also killing in the groin. And some of you guys that have either had this already know what it is, but I didn't know what it was. I've never had this, never had a friend that had it. But I guessed a hernia when I was out there. I bet you I don't know what a hernia is like. I've never known anybody have one, but I was guessing that. So my last 3 weeks, I think I hiked about 400 and something miles with a extremely swollen, painful, I think hernia. It's August, excuse me, that was August, I think the first week into August, and I hiked the whole month of August and some really steep, rough terrain with it. So I really beat it up, and I've come to find out that it can be very dangerous, and your intestines can either come out of the tear, or if they knot up, they can be blocked, and you could die, I guess, but you're in an emergency situation. I just kept hiking. I told you that I unfortunately have a high tolerance for pain. It hurt so bad. And some of the times I got behind on trail, it wasn't because of me hiking, because of me not being able to keep up, it's because it hurt so bad. It tended to hurt more going uphill. So there's times, when my 2 hiking partners, or all 3, were faster than me, but I could have kept up a lot of times if I didn't have this pain. I would just fall behind and then sit on a log for a couple of minutes and let it subside a little bit and then keep going. Flattened down hurt a little bit, but not as bad. And there's no rhyme or reason to it. It tended to swell a lot in the morning when I first started irritating it hiking. Sometimes it would hurt for like middle of the day, and then a lot of times by the second half of the day, it would diminish by maybe 50%. Like the swelling would go down halfway, and the pain would be about halfway. It still hurt a lot, but it was manageable, But yeah, I dealt with a lot of pain the last 3 weeks, and I'm bummed because now that and those of you who have had them or know about them, I didn't know this, but your body is an amazing thing, and it can generally heal all its things. But this is a tear in the wall where it protects the intestines, and generally the tear is not repairable, so you have to have surgery. So I'm looking at most likely surgery soon. So I haven't been hiking. I'm not sure if it's out yet or not by the time this video gets out, but I did a car camping extravaganza where I went up and did Anza Desert, and then Palomar Mountain State Park, and then Idlewild. Well, I did a hike on day 2, but it hurt so bad that on day 3, when I was in Idlewild, I didn't say it, but I didn't do the hike because it was too swollen and it hurt too bad. So I'm now not able to hike. So the frustration thing is I've lost a lot of weight and I'm in great hiking shape and I can't hike. So it's just very frustrating. So I just want to let you guys know that I have a doctor's appointment on the 19th, but I haven't gone to the doctor in 20 years or so. So I don't have a primary doctor. So unfortunately on the 19th of October, I've picked somebody that's in my insurance. I'm going to go fill out the paperwork, meet the doctor, but then I have to I hate our health industry in our country and in the U.S., but I have to go, and I'm in a lot of pain, but I can't even see the doctor and find out and get a specialist. I have to go. The first appointment is paperwork and to meet the doctor that I picked, and who knows if I'll like him. And then I have to make another appointment to actually get my physical. And I've got some other health issues that I'll share with you later when I find out what they are. So one is as I get older, I pee a lot. So I think it's just an enlarged prostate. So I'm going to take care of that and find out what this is. And I have something else that I don't want to share really, but when I find out what it is, I'll share it. So I wanted to let you guys know that. If you have some experience with hernias, let me know down below. I've already talked to 4 or 5 people that have had them, so I pretty much, and I've also researched them. So assuming that every single symptom I have is exactly a hernia, so I doubt it's anything else. But assuming it's a hernia, yeah, I'm probably gonna have to have surgery pretty soon. So I don't know if I'll be able to hike for a while. So I just want to let you know that in case you don't see me do a hike. It's not because I'm wimping out. It's because I've got to get this taken care of. So let's get the last 2 questions, okay? All right. Question number 3 is from Paisley Family 5972. What were your mileage breakdowns for the 5 years you hiked? Also, can you talk about hitching? How often did you do it? How hard was it? What's the method you used to get the ride the fastest or that worked the best? And how did Trail Angels play into the rides you got? So the first one, I had to look it up, and I think I'm within 1 mile of being correct. So 2019, I did 902 miles. 2020, I did 283. 2021, I did 201, but I did about 60 to 70 or 80 side miles in the Sierras to go get resupplies. So I did practically 300, but only 201 counted. Last year, 2022, I did 305 miles, and this year I did 963. So the hitching was a bone of contention for me because we're taught as kids not to hitch. It's not safe, but on the trail it's safe. And I mostly hike. I probably hiked 90+% of the trail by myself. I camp by people sometimes, but when I was physically walking down the trail, I was probably by myself 90% of the time. Because even when you're with people, you're way ahead or way behind and stuff like that. So, but I hitched a lot by myself, and the secret to it is you want to pick a good spot. So when you get on the side of the road, and sometimes you have to walk a quarter mile to find the right spot, but you want a spot where you're standing, they can see you well for quite a while, because they're going to want to kind of judge you and evaluate before they decide to pick you up or not. And then you want a place past you, so when they're coming up to you, they might slow down. They need a place to pull over. If it's dangerous or there's nowhere to pull over, they will never pull over. So you want to do that. I usually take my pack off and set it on my feet, but you want to make eye contact, and I sometimes wear a hat. Sometimes they can't see your face if you're wearing sunglasses, so I'll put my sunglasses. They want to see your face, and just, I don't know why it is about your face, but that's what they want to see. And I smile, and I'm like, hey, how's it going? And you have to look happy and not dangerous or sketchy or scary. The other way that's a surefire way to get a ride is to have a female with you, because like when you have a female, it's not to be sexist, but when I've been on the side of the road and you have a female, they'll pull over because they feel safer, especially if it's a female driving. They feel safer if there's a female in the group. So even if you're hiking with a female, just make sure she's out there hitchhiking with you. So, and what was the other part of the question? So challenges. This year I had a lot of challenges, which I didn't normally have. Okay, hold on a second. There's a plane flying over. It happened to be mostly in Northern California. I think Big Bear was a little this way, but there's a lot of places where the towns are really far away, but the roads are super desolate. And do people get rides? Yes. But I mean, literally, I've stood on roads and seen 2 cars go by in an hour. And then generally, sometimes you get lucky, but that's not a good ratio. If you got cars going by, you don't mind if you wait 15 minutes, because by the 15 minutes, you've had 100 cars go by and you always get a ride. So I utilized the Trail Angel system this year quite a bit. I went to 4 towns. I looked on the app that we use, Far Out, and there's comments. It has people's Trail Angels names, their phone numbers. Some do it for free, some charged, and they just do it as a side hustle. But when you get it for free, if you call somebody, like a lot of times they have to come 10 miles out to get you and then go back. So you always want to offer them money. Some are good about not asking, but they do want the money. So I didn't mind. There's a lot of towns I spent $10 going in, and then when I came back, another 10. So it was a mix of a little bit this year. Northern Cal seemed to have a lot of very small towns that were far away. Normally you just walk into town, or if it's a quarter mile, you just walk in. You don't need a ride. But yeah, I hope that answers your question on that. All right, my 4th and final question is from my buddy Tim, or AKA Shanks Mare. And I like this question, and it's something I've been thinking about for years, but I need your advice, I guess. Are you going to use your 5 years of footage to make a PCT movie? So I would really like to do this, but I have a couple questions for you. A, would you want to see that? I would make it different style. You wouldn't be saying good morning every morning in the video, and which is kind of my trademark, but you'd be a lot less talking, and I'd probably do a voiceover, so I'd probably have more beauty and just trail, and have people that I met, things like that, and just do voiceover, so the video doesn't stop with me walking down the trail talking. So it might be like an hour-long video or less, but mostly the trail, obviously I'd be in there some, but it'd be mostly the trail and not my intros where I talk a long time. So A, would you like to see that? B, I have a couple problems technically. I have all my footage from the last 4 years. The first year, I have all my still pictures, but somewhere in there, and remember, I hiked in 19, so it was a little after 2019, but I had all my footage, but I lost all my video. I think it's when I switched over to a new iPhone. You know how you back up your stuff? I backed up my stuff, put it on there, and I think I lost all my video clips. I can capture it back, but hold on a second again. I'm in Carlsbad by the small Carlsbad airport, but now bigger planes are flying there, big jets, so it's getting louder nowadays. But yeah, so the problem is I don't have, so what I can do is, I use my iPhone for everything right now. So what I could do is on the clips that I want for the desert, if it's a video clip, I can actually play it on my iPhone and hit screen record and record it. The problem is you lose some of the quality. So the desert section of the whole documentary would be a little rougher quality-wise, and it was not as good of a camera as the last recent years. So would that bother you guys if I do some screen recordings and then put some still pictures that are clear? But and then when I get to the last 4 years, it's all good, clear footage. The other stuff is I've been slowly backing up my stuff on an exterior hard drive, some of my Sierra stuff, so I have it, because I needed to delete some of the stuff off my phone so I had more space for this year. Because I filmed 2 straight months every single day, and my phone didn't fill up, but I needed to make room on my camera. So technically wise, I have to go into my hard drive here, how to recapture those and use those clips. So I would love, I love the creative aspect of making these videos, so I would love to make it. Would you like to see that? And if so, can you think of some topics, or not topics, some titles? I thought maybe something that has to do with my broken ankle the first year, something, that has to do with taking so long, 5 years, or how much of a struggle it's been, and all the natural disasters and COVID. But if you could think of any cool title for it, that'd be great help. So let me know if you would want to see that. I'm inclined to do it, but it would be hard because if I just had all the raw footage in there, it would actually, I could make it in pretty quick. But 3.5 of the 5 years are just easily gettable. They're still on my phone, but the other year and a half is going to take a lot of work, and so it wouldn't be very quick. But it would be a kind of a labor of love to have, and I think people would enjoy that. So let me know about that. All right, so that's it, you guys. Please consider subscribing, liking, hitting the notification bell if you want to be notified for all the future videos. We should have 2 or 3 more of these unless we get more videos. But yeah, leave some questions if you want specifically about the PCT. And this is a post PCT Q&A video. So just if you want to know something about that, if you want to support me and what I'll be doing in the future, there's ways to do it in the description box below. And that's it for now. Sorry this one's longer. The future ones won't be, but let me know all your thoughts. I love hearing from you guys. And we'll see you on Q&A number 2 when I put that one together. Bye.